Steelers will decide the Super Bowl champion at Sun Devil Stadium. Hi, I'm Chris Meyers. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. When Dallas arrived here in town, I sat down with the big man in the big games. Troy Aikman is a starter in postseason play, has a 9-1 career record. Troy, I know that you truly believe that you would be in the Super Bowl game last year. This year, through the course of the season, when was there the most doubt that you might not make it back to this game?
Well, I think the point during the season where we had the most doubt that we might not make it back was when we went through the two-game stretch there in December to open up the month and didn't play as well as what we're capable of playing and lost those games. And certainly going into December, you want to be playing well, you want to hit the playoffs in stride and playing well as a football team. And we didn't open the month very well. And I think we still had confidence within our football team that we would come out and play well and get it turned around. But I think initially on, there was some concern as to whether or not we were going to get back to where we needed to be in order to get to the Super Bowl.
How about for you personally? How do you deal with that doubt?
Oh, I think the most important thing for myself and for us as a football team during that time, because in Dallas you lose a ball game and it's like it's the end of the world. And we were a football team that was 12-4, and still people were very concerned about our football team outside of the organization. And so what we had to do and what I had to do was just block out the criticisms that we were facing and know that we had a football team that was extremely talented and at some point was going to get back on track and play well, and just have the confidence within that we were going to be able to do it.
And this team had to overcome a lot to get to the Super Bowl, and you have said some of it, much of it, self-inflicted. What do you mean by that?
As I've said, this football team overcame some things that I think were self-imposed and were internal. And that's as far as I'll go with that. But those
are things you don't want to discuss publicly?
Yeah, I'm not interested in discussing those things publicly. It's a shame that we as a football team had to go through it. But no one can understand it. I couldn't even tell you to the point where you could understand it. I'm as critical about this football team as anybody is, and our players are as critical about this football team. And so, you know, the expectations that are placed before us are much a part of us than what they are coming from, whether it be media or fans. And so, again, like I say, I don't think that anybody should feel sorry for this football team. I think that because you go into the season expecting to get to the Super Bowl, and because you make that a goal, the price for making that a goal and the price for having a team that's been as successful as what we are is to where when you go through 16 games, then you don't get to enjoy some of the moments leading up to what it is you're playing for.
Did it begin the kinds of problems with in training camp, Super Bowl or nothing? If we don't win the Super Bowl, we haven't done anything.
I think that I don't think there's anything wrong with having goals going into a season and having expectations for your ball club. And ours, since we won the Super Bowl the first year back in the '92 season, has been to go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. This year was no different, and especially after having lost last year in the championship game. But with that, there's a price that comes with it, and the price for us was that we didn't get to enjoy all the victories that we had because we knew there was a bigger mission at hand. And so when you go through 16 games and knowing that regardless of what takes place in those 16 games, the season is not going to be determined a success or not until you get into January. It makes for a long road, and with that there's a lot of frustrations, but that's the price of success, and this football team has been paying that price for 4 years now.
Is that where we heard that Troy Aikman is not having as much fun this season? Then we heard he wasn't having any fun, and then we heard that there's no fun in Troy Aikman's life. What did you say? What did you mean? How much fun are you having?
You know, and I've responded to this so many times, it's comical, and I made a comment that this season had not been as enjoyable to me as what other years had been. I don't think that was just a statement that needed to be posted across the country or some new revelation that no one had ever heard or experienced themselves before. And with that, then all of a sudden it snowballed into me not having any fun, and then to the point where I was having no fun in any regard to my life. It was like I was just existing. But you know, I said all along, for 60 minutes on every given Sunday that we played, I very much enjoy the game of football.
Last year's NFC Championship loss to the 49ers, I know, was devastating for you, 3 interceptions. Other than the defeat, what did you take away from that game?
it was a disappointing game. When you're one game away from getting to the Super Bowl and you don't make it, it's a big letdown. There's no question. And you know, you walk off that field very dejected, and then you can't wait to get back into the season again the following year to put it all behind you. But I think in a lot of ways, that game gave people an opportunity to see me. I think they gave the people an opportunity to see our football team in a light that they hadn't had a chance to see it in. And I've had a number of people come up to me and feel like that was really a good ball game for our club, because here we were down, and people didn't know if we had it within ourselves to really fight back like that and try to come back and win the football game. And I think it really showed a lot, not that anybody within our organization questioned the character of our ball club, but I think it gave everyone a much better appreciation for the type of players that we have here.
So distraught were you that you couldn't watch the Super Bowl game?
I turned it on and watched a couple series and realized that San Francisco was going to be playing awfully well that day, and it was tough just because we really thought we had a team capable of being there ourselves. And so watching that, I think trying to watch that Super Bowl was making me relive what had happened in the championship game.
So it was painful for you.
It was extremely painful. So I turned it off. I didn't watch I didn't watch it after that.
But Up Close continues from the side of Super Bowl 30. If Troy Aikman had to choose his coach for the big game, would it be Barry or Jimmy? Welcome back to Up Close. We are in the Valley of the Sun, where on Sunday Troy Aikman tries for his third Super Bowl title. He won 2 under Jimmy Johnson, and I asked Troy if he compares the relationship he had with Jimmy to the one he has with Barry.
I don't compare my relationship with Barry with the relationship I had with Jimmy. I don't compare any relationship I have with anybody to another relationship. And the relationship that I have with Barry right now is purely professional, and I don't say that with any type of edge on it. There's nothing unusual about having that type of relationship. Jimmy and I became very good friends by the time he left Dallas. Barry and I, our goal, and I guess what our thing that brings us together is that we have a common goal to win football games. And he's the head coach of this football team, and I'm the quarterback of this football team, and I respect that and go out and do my job.
Your professional and personal relationships with Jimmy Johnson were very good. With Barry Switzer, you've admitted there isn't much of a personal relationship there. Is that needed?
That's not... it's not that important to me. If it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. As I've said, I don't get paid by Jerry Jones to have friendships within the organization. I get paid to win football games, and as long as everybody has that as a goal and as a commitment, then I'm perfectly content. Well, I get along fine with Barry, and so it's not like there needs to be anything. Nothing needs to be fixed here. If it gets to the point to where we have a real friendship like what Jimmy and I had, that's fine, but that's certainly not required, and it's not like there's a need there for that right now.
You play to win, you play for yourself. Do you play for Barry Switzer? There was always this impression that guys sold out for Jimmy Johnson. That is it that way with Barry Switzer with you?
With me, it's more the football team and what this team has a chance to accomplish, and with that, as Barry being the head coach, then I guess yes, I would say that I am playing for him. But I think sometimes when people say they're playing for a coach or I think sometimes that's overstated.
You once said that Barry Switzer wasn't your type of guy. Describe your type of guy. in terms of...
I'd have better luck to describe my kind of woman than I would my kind of guy.
In terms of a guy you want to play for, a football coach.
That would be difficult to describe because, one thing about it is I feel very fortunate to have gotten to play for some of the coaches that I've played for, whether they be head coaches or assistant coaches, and you really can't put a stamp on any of them and say, well, this is how they all are, and this is the reason why. They've all been different. They've all had different demeanors. They've all had a different approach to the game. I think the one common denominator in all of the ones is that they've got a real commitment to win, and because of my commitment to winning, then automatically we're off on the right foot.
Is there criticism that is justified of the coaching job he's done with this football team?
How much of it is justified? Probably very little. I think a lot of times when there's criticism like that, and people really coming down, whether it be a coach or a player or whoever, a lot of times it's just done in order to try to sell papers or create something. And so I think Barry recognizes, I certainly recognize that when you win, things are going awfully well in all areas. And when you lose, there's some things that we all have to contend with. And him being the head coach, he gets a good part of that. And then I, as the quarterback, get a good part of that.
Have you carried more pressure with this football team since Jimmy has left?
I think there's probably been more responsibility on my shoulders, since Jimmy has left.
Do you miss playing for Jimmy Johnson?
I miss playing for him. Yeah, I miss playing for Terry Donahue. I miss those relationships that I've had with those people and different characteristics about them and the things that made them outstanding coaches. So if I was playing for someone else, I'm sure I'd miss not getting an opportunity to play for Barry. So saying that I miss not playing for Jimmy is not meant as a slant towards anybody else.
We're up close with Troy Aikman, and when we come back, we'll talk to him about America's fascination with his personal life. Don't go away.
Music Express, voted #1 by the National Limousine Association, has offices in Los Angeles and on the East Coast. Music Express can handle your corporate needs anywhere in the U.S. and worldwide. And guests of Up Close stay at the Beverly Prescott, L.A.'s premier boutique hotel. Call your travel agent to make reservations at the Beverly Prescott, a Kimpton hotel.
Welcome back to Up Close. We come to you from the site of Super Bowl 30 at the Arizona Center. Thanks for staying with us. Now, some have called him the Namath of the 90s. How much do we know, how much should we know about Troy Aikman's personal life? Troy, you're a guy that seemingly has it all. Super Bowl rings, quarterback of America's team, lots of money, good looking, sort of. No, I can't. But what's missing in Troy Aikman's life?
Nothing's missing in my life, but I don't say nothing's missing because of those things that you mentioned. I'm very content with myself. I'm very happy with where I'm at in my life. My happiness does not come from Super Bowls or having wealth or anything like that. It comes from having great friends, a great family, and being very happy and at peace with myself. And I think only then do you really experience happiness, and then the rest is just a little bit extra.
Are you that upset that you're not married at 29? It's not.
No, I'm not upset. I am very happy with my life, and I look forward to one day being married and having kids. But in the meantime, I'm having the time of my life.
Are you? You're not in any hurry then? You're not.
No. I mean, people. It humors me. It humors me that I get asked this so often. I know lots of people that are 29 years old and single. For some reason, I'm made to feel like I'm a dinosaur or something. There's something very peculiar and unusual about me, about being 29 years old and not having been married.
But the fascination is that you're a public figure. You're the quarterback of the Cowboys.
Which then I would think people would even understand more, that it makes things a little bit tougher.
How have you had to alter your life because of your celebrity?
Well, I haven't been able to. I can't do some things that I used to be able to do. I used to, go shopping in the mall. I can't do some of that, and a lot of public places you try to avoid. But I've been able to do a lot of things too that a lot of people can't do, and that I haven't been able to do in the past. And so I always look at it this way. I don't feel. I may have sacrificed some things, but I've gotten a lot. And so I think that no matter where you're at in life, there are things that people get to do, and there are things that they don't get to do. And I'm no different. So there's good and bad no matter where you're at and what your positioning is, and I'm the same way.
What are some of the stranger stories or experiences you've had?
I came home one night and had a couple of visitors in my backyard, and They were eating pizza, and I got a phone in the back, and they were talking on the phone, and it was about midnight when I'd gotten home, and I found out later they'd been there all day and all evening waiting for me to come back, and got them removed, and then for about the next month, I was receiving pictures in the mail of them, you know, lounging out by the pool and different things from their entire afternoon at my house. So when those type things happen, then you start getting a little bit nervous, because for the most part, people they're just fans. You know, they just want to see you and talk to you. But there are some people out there that you read about and you hear about that get a little bit violent. My personal life has been violated, but you know, this is I guess I'm not comfortable with everything, but I guess I've learned to expect the unexpected. So
you're numb to it now?
Yeah, so to speak, and nothing really surprises me much anymore. And you know, I guess I feel a little uncomfortable even talking about this, because I know that yeah, there are things that are unusual that happen in my life, I guess, that are more unusual than what most people go through. But I'm not unique to a lot of other people. There's a lot of other players in the NFL that go through the same things. Other people that are in the public eye, and you know, you contend with it as best you can, and overlook it and move on.
Why do you enjoy spending so much time on the computer and chatting on the internet?
I go through a lot of email. I don't spend really all that much time chatting with people. Occasionally I do, and those times that I do, it's kind of fun for me because I get to just be a normal person, and it kind of levels the playing field, so to speak.
So you like that?
Well, yeah, so you can just have a normal conversation and kind of cut through the quarterback thing, and so that's kind of nice. But I really don't spend a lot of time chatting. I've got computers for a lot of my friends and families, and we communicate through email primarily, because I've never been one who's really enjoyed just sitting and talking on the telephone. So this way we're able to communicate when it's most convenient for them and most convenient for me through email.
Troy Aikman on the internet. When Up Close continues from the side of the Super Bowl, will a victory Sunday bring Troy closer to retirement? We'll ask him if you stay with us, and I hope you do. Hope you'll join us Tuesday on Up Close. We continue to come to you from the side of the Super Bowl here in Arizona. Former Super Bowl MVP and Kansas City Chief Marcus Allen. On Wednesday, NFL Most Valuable Player Brett Favre. He's seen firsthand how difficult the Cowboys are to beat. We'll talk to him about that. Also on Wednesday, Buffalo Bill quarterback Jim Kelly, fresh off surgery. The Bills made their run before running into Pittsburgh. We'll get his view of the AFC champion Steelers. And on Friday, Cowboy legendary running back Tony Dorsett. He'll renew those rivalry days between the Steelers and the Cowboys. Up next, more with Troy Aikman. He'll tell us what a driver's license and a Super Bowl victory have in common. Wow. Welcome back to the show. We're at the Arizona Center, site for Super Bowl 30. We're up close with Troy Aikman and winding down. Continuing our discussion, I asked him if this was physically his most difficult year in the league.
Well, it seems every year about this time that that question comes up, and it seems like every year I answer it, yeah, this is probably the most physical of year that I've had, and this year is no exception. It started early, and it's never let up.
Has it altered your view at all of how much longer you want to play the game, or how careful, how you want to leave the game, and what kind of shape?
It hasn't altered my view any, because I've always had a clear view as to, you know, how I wanted to leave the game, that when I do leave the game, I want to still be able to carry out an active lifestyle. You know, from the time that I had concussions, you know, even to now, I still don't think that physically that I'm going to have to experience anything when I'm done playing and given it time to rest. But you know, you go through a season like what we do, and everyone in the NFL, it's very difficult to come out of the season feeling great about your body. How long I'm going to play, I really don't know how long I'm going to play. There are times when I'd like to play, you know, another 8, 9, 10 years, and there's other times to where, you know, it's just like, you know, today I've had enough today. And you know, people and again, I say that, and I think people can relate to that. I mean, I think people, I'm sure there are times you kind of work and you say, I've had enough of this TV commentating. Yes. So it's very natural. And then I think when you give the time and you sit back and you really analyze things and you think about all the things that you enjoy about it, then you come to the realization that you get an opportunity to do something that you've always wanted to do and you very much love, and there's not a lot of people that get that chance.
One of those was, and I've heard you talk about this, and if you could express again that first Super Bowl, that feeling you had before the game when you walked out through the tunnel onto the field, that experience.
Well, it was, there's never been anything like it for me, and there probably won't ever be anything like it again. And the first Super Bowl, I remember going into that game and saying that I'm gonna enjoy every minute of this, and I'm gonna take it all in, and win or lose, I'm gonna enjoy it, because I don't know that I'm ever gonna get another opportunity like this. So I went through that whole day, and then out onto the field, just taking it all in and really enjoying it all, the pageantry of the game and the color of the game. And then you got Garth Brooks singing the national anthem, and the jets are flying over, and everything. It was just, it was a beautiful day that day. And until they did player introductions, and then they did player introductions, and it was like my heart had just gone to my feet, and my adrenaline was pumping so much I was hyperventilating in the huddle. But that whole experience, and then going on to win the game and play like we did, that's the most memorable athletic event that I've ever been a part of.
How will this time be different this Sunday?
It won't be a lot different.
Obviously, it can't be the first time, but that
won't be the first time. So in that regard, it is different. You'll never recapture the first time of doing something, but still, even though this is now my third Super Bowl to be a part of, I still know how fortunate I am, and I haven't lost sight of how difficult a journey it is to get back to the Super Bowl. So yeah, I'll be enjoying it just like I did the first one.
And a win Sunday, would that push you closer toward retirement or further away?
Neither.
Really won't have an effect on that mark in your...
No, and there are those guys that say that they'd like to go out a winner. If this is my 16th year, then I'd say, well, I'd like to go out having won a Super Bowl. But it really has no bearing on how long I'm going to play. And in regards to Super Bowls, when I was a kid, and when I was 13, 14 years old, I used to always think, when I turn 16 years old and I have the ability to drive, there will be no more life's problems. They'll all be solved. How can people over 16 have problems? They can drive. I thought that was like the greatest thing in the world. Obviously, you turn 16 and you realize that you still have problems after 16 years old.
They're just really beginning, really.
Exactly. And when I got into the league, I kind of had that same naive belief that once you win a Super Bowl, all of a sudden all your problems are solved professionally. You realize very quickly that they're not. And so as great as winning the Super Bowl is, and trust me, it means a great deal to me, and I feel extremely fortunate to have won 2 already. As soon as that game ends, you get a day to celebrate whatever happens, and then it's all over again. What are you going to do to go back to the Super Bowl the following year? And then nobody cares about the fact that you just win. So it's a vicious cycle. That's why, to answer your question, regardless of what happens in this game, it doesn't push me any closer one way or the other.
So Troy Aikman won't be retiring or getting married anytime soon. He will be trying to add to his Super Bowl collection during this, his favorite time of the year when he's having the most fun. We thank him for joining us Tuesday. Marcus Allen will be our guest from the site of the Super Bowl. I'm Chris Meyers in Arizona. Thanks for watching. We'll see you then. Take care.